Welcome, everyone. Episode 30-something, 39 maybe. Cascadia Hockey Podcast. We're calling this one the prologue to season 2, the epilogue prelude to season 1, the prelogue,
the warm up.
The warm up. That's a good. This is preseason.
Yeah,
this is preseason.
I've determined that August is literally the worst month for hockey.
Oh, it sucks.
It is like because there's nothing going on.
No,
like nothing.
No.
There's hardly any news. Like it's mostly just people just kind of like sweating their asses off and just like, oh, is it October yet?
Yeah, and you're hoping that on the NHL Network you'll get a cool glimpse of where the Stanley Cup's at or something.
Yeah, like once in a while on like Complete Hockey News or something, it'll be like, oh, this guy's got it here, and
or
look at this guy's dog eating dog food out of it, like something like that.
Yeah,
so
it's hard.
Yeah, it's a struggle. August is a struggle for sure.
But I mean, the good news is the light at the end of the tunnel. Training camp starts here next week, the 22nd.
Yeah,
so we're what's today, the 13th? We're 9 days away from training camp,
mm-hmm.
and then once training camp hits, especially like in the Dub around here, things take off really quick.
It does. And that's the thing. It's like it always starts before I even realize it. Like I'm always just kind of like. Oh, just waiting because WHL starts before the NHL, and it's always kind of like definitely really felt like hockey season starting a lot earlier because we're so close to the Dub,
right?
And it's always like I'm like I can't wait for shit to get started. And then like next thing I know, it's just like fuck, it's almost playoffs.
Yeah, you think it's going to slow down, you hope, and you try to take times to like savor the moments.
Yeah.
And then you realize the moments are gone.
Yeah, exactly.
And it never changed. You try to figure out every year, what can I do differently to enjoy this more? And then, oh, fuck it, it's April.
Yeah, exactly. Well, here's one thing I will say, though, is I'm not, for obvious reasons, which we'll go into shortly, I won't be here for next season. But the AMS home opener is after the NHL gets going.
October 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be on the road the first 2 weeks.
Golden Knights, I think, start on the 2nd.
I believe you're right. That night, October 2nd, that Wednesday, there's like 2 games, I think, that night. The 2 nationally televised games. And then that Thursday, like everybody else hits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so NHL will be going.
That game, that first night's game is national TV. Yep. So that
Vegas and the Caps, I believe.
The Sharks.
So, yes. And the Caps are playing St. Louis, maybe?
I think so.
I forget, but
yeah. That's just adding to the pressure, I suppose.
Yeah. What pressure are you talking about? But okay, so let's take half step back. What we wanted to do here is because we are going to kick off quote unquote season 2 next week, and things are going to be different yet the same. But one of the ways they're going to be different, and by the way, Corey is not with us today. He's got his family down at Disney right now, and they look like they are having a lovely time.
I am so jealous.
I really am, man. When he was showing the pictures at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, I was just like, huh.
Yeah, like I'm so jealous. Like I went to Disney World for the first time when I was 24. It was my 24th birthday.
Yeah.
And it was actually a trip that the Army had sponsored.
Nice.
And it was so much fun. But like, now like Star Wars is like Edge of the Galaxy's down there. It's like, fuck, I really need to go.
And Disney World is opening their Galaxy's Edge like tomorrow or something.
Yeah.
So
it's quick. But the good thing is I will be a lot closer.
Yeah, you will.
To Disney.
So Corey's not here. He should be back with us next week, which is great because he's an amazing host. But next week will actually be our last live for a while with you, Mr. House. Mm-hmm. So you have come upon a pretty cool opportunity over the last few weeks, and it was in the works for a while.
It was definitely a process, and when you're doing something like applying for a job, you want to hear back right away.
Yeah,
and every moment until that like, hey, come on down, we want you. It's like it takes forever.
So who wanted you?
Well, I wouldn't say. When you put it like that, it makes it sound a little different. Periodically, I would just I mean, my degree has been digital technology and culture. It's been more, graphic design or video editing, driven.
Yeah.
But once in a while, I would just go on Google and just look up Zamboni drivers wanted. And I'd see jobs in like New York or Carolina and stuff. Not like for the NHL or anything, but like local rinks. And, I've been wanting bigger and better.
Mm-hmm.
But it finally showed up, and I applied right away. And it was the position was called Lead Ice Conversion Tech at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas.
What team is it that plays there at that arena?
That arena has the tenants known as the Golden Knights.
Oh, I thought it was UNLV played there. So
correct, yeah. And UFC is also there, but they don't have ice. I don't think they're not that part of the sport yet, where they're taking it to the ice. So I went ahead and applied. I made sure my resume looked good, my references were good, and I got a call back that I wasn't expecting at all. Like I was just like, I don't know, like it wasn't that the way that it was worded on the website was a little bit different than what they were looking for.
Yeah.
But it just happened to be exactly what I do now.
Nice.
And they talked to me about like conversions and stuff and like how familiar I am with the Zamboni. And they liked everything they heard. And, I was open. I was pretty, transparent with them. I said, I don't do stuff like Zamboni maintenance itself.
Mm-hmm.
We have a guy that does that.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, no problem. Don't worry. I was like, yeah, I haven't probably run an edger in maybe a year or so, but they were like, yeah, don't worry about it. So, but it's pretty much like what I'm going to be doing is from what I'm understanding, the main part of the job is basically prepping the ice before and after conversions. Like after a game is over, then prep the ice to put event deck down so they can do a concert or UFC or whatever. But they also said, during hockey season, it's going to be mostly ice work. And I could potentially be driving for morning skates, games, before and after games, things like that. And then, I could be also like, I could have a night off from driving and just pushing nets, between periods.
Yeah.
Drilling holes and all that stuff. So it'll just be a mix of all things. And talking about it now, it still doesn't quite feel real.
It will.
Like once I get down there and I like walk into the building, it'll probably freak me out a little bit. But
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, it's I like saying I'm looking forward to it is completely underselling it. Like I can't express how excited I am for this. Like, but it's also been like a really like mixed bag of emotions too, because it's a really, really big job, and I'm super grateful for it and super thankful that they even looked at me in some shape or form. And,
sure.
But it also means I gotta move away from here, and I went through kind of a breakup, and got to figure out what I'm doing with school now because I haven't finished my degree yet.
Yeah,
and got to say goodbye to everybody, and it sucks. I'm not good at goodbyes. So, and it's because I do get pretty down and sad about it, and it's a big move, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really excited for it, and I'm just riding it out until I get down there, but at the same time, it's like, man, the hardest part is just going to be having to like see people and not know when I'm going to see them next.
Yeah.
And I made a lot of really good friends here, and it's been a really good time in Tri-Cities. I've ragged on it a few times.
Sure.
You're
going to find the usual to rag on.
Yeah, the usual complaints. And I'm sure Vegas will definitely be the same. I'm sure that like I'll spend one day on the Strip and I'll be like, all right, fucking never again.
I'm done.
I'm fucking done with this. Like I might, I'll probably like go if like friends come down or something. But
sure.
Like I'm going to do my best to kind of avoid it after I get the initial bit out of the way. So
I've heard that from a lot of locals down there that they're just like,
stay
unless I have
away.
to go there for business, I'm not there.
Yeah, I mean, and that's for the tourists.
Yeah.
I don't have any business down there. T-Mobile Arena is like right behind Excalibur or something like that. So yeah, I'll be close to it every day, but it's not going to be like horrible, I think. So, but it's definitely bittersweet, and I'm anxious, and I'm not so much nervous about the job. I'm excited about the job. I'm ready to get there and start working.
Sure.
But like, it's anxious about everything leading up to it.
Yeah.
So it's such a weird feeling. Yeah. The prep has definitely been like stressful, and it's like I just want to make sure everything goes smoothly. And there's been so many roadblocks. Oh my God! Like I had the crack in my windshield, and I got pulled over for that, and they gave me a $136 ticket.
Oh man!
Thank you, Pasco PD. So I and now to be fair, he did give me a break because my address on my driver's license was out of date. So,
oh wow!
He's like, I could have cited you for this, but I'm not gonna. I'm like, thank you. But then they kicked me in the nuts with that $136 ticket, and then I took it down to. I got the windshield replaced the next day.
Okay.
Hoping that maybe they'd lower the ticket or something, and they're like, "Yeah, we'll lower it by like $12." And I'm like, you could just like come around the corner and just poke me in the eye and kick me in the shins, and it'd feel about the same. So thanks. So yeah, I did that, and then the next day the Jeep overheated while I was running Uber Eats, and I was like, "Oh, come on, what else? What else could go wrong right now?" It was just like one thing after another, and one more roadblock. It was like. It's weird because it didn't really start until like the Vegas thing happened, or maybe that's just when I was paying attention to the bad luck, I guess. But
it'd been overheating for 6 months. You just didn't.
Yeah. No, but it was like, just trying to get through it all and make sure everything goes well, and it's definitely been a pretty chaotic transition. So
yeah, I mean, I guess looking at it from your position, I mean, it's the same time zone. It's a familiar place for you.
Yeah. I've got friends and family down there.
You've got friends and family down there. You've got a lot of friends and maybe family from here. I don't know. You even told me if your family travels down to Vegas, but you've got a lot of friends from here that travel to Vegas.
Yeah, and that's been like one of the most comforting things, really. Like, it's been...
There's some distance, but yet a lot of connection.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I hate the idea that I could possibly never see some of these people again. That's a bit of a stretch, but at the same time, it's like... There's so many people, that I've grown up with and I've known over the years, and I've thought, I'm going to be close with this person for a long time, and then I, don't talk to them. I'm honestly, I'm not great at keeping in touch like that sometimes.
Yeah, me neither. So we're fucked.
Yeah. So nice knowing you. Nice knowing you, bud.
Who? What?
No, but it's comforting that like a lot of people are already telling me, yeah, I'm going to be down there in November, or I'll be down there in January. I'm going to be there for New Year's, all this stuff, and it's super cool. Like knowing that. Not saying that they're going to come down just to see me, but like I have the option of like going out and having a drink with them or something like that.
Yeah.
So, that's actually like really comforting, and I'm excited for that because Vegas is definitely like a highly traveled vacation spot.
Yep.
And hell, I was just down there for my birthday last year, and my mom, she's so excited about me moving to Vegas because like she lives in Helena, Montana.
Okay.
And they don't have like direct flights to Pasco, so she's got to drive, and it's like or take like a long ass flight, with a weird layover.
She'd have to fly to like Seattle to come back to Pasco.
That's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
So she just doesn't even fly to Pasco. She just what's the point? It's like
Helena. That's a good 10-12 hour drive, isn't it?
It's like 7.
Okay,
7 hours from here. So she's like 7 hour drive to Pasco or 2.5 hour flight to Vegas.
Do they go direct?
It goes direct.
Yeah. Oh wow!
Yeah, and she's like,
Vegas, dude,
and she's
smart,
like,
man.
she's like, I want to see Donnie Marie Osmond. I'm like, oh my god!
Okay,
great. All right, yeah, let's do that. So, like, a lot of my family's excited. A lot of them don't want to see me, move further away from them. And I get that.
Yeah, but you've been a lot further away.
I've been
points in your life, Korea, Europe. I mean,
Iraq.
Yeah.
So.
I get it. I totally get it.
Around, I still have, easy flights.
Mm-hmm. It's so easy to get in and out of Vegas, and it's even easier on the West Coast. I mean, pretty much from anywhere in the U.S., Canada, all that. It's very easy to get to Vegas, but the West Coast, dude, and tickets are so cheap. My wife has never been to Vegas. Last time I was in Vegas was 1988 when I was 8 years old. So I think I have an excuse now to go back. So
Yeah.
it'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
First few couple months, I won't have my own place, but
Yeah.
I plan to get, like, I have a spare bed, so I
Yeah.
plan to get something where I can have friends come crash if they want.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I really, really, dude, ever since last year, well, when the Knights first started, like, I want to go just to experience their in-arena.
yeah, absolutely.
Experience.
And the funny thing is I've never even been in that building yet.
That's true. You went to a Golden Knights game in Calgary, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I saw them in Calgary their first season.
Yeah.
They had already, like, clinched, like, a really high spot, and that was their
They had
Stanley Cup.
won the Pacific at that point, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They had already claimed Pacific, and so they were just kind of kicking back and saving themselves for playoffs.
Yeah.
While Calgary just beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
I think the score was like 9-1 or 8-1 or something like that. I can't remember.
Vegas is like, cool, enjoy your off season.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because I don't think Calgary made the playoffs that year.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
So it was actually, like, it was cool. I didn't mind it so much. I was just excited to be in a new arena, that I'd never been to, and seeing the Golden Knights at the same time. And God, I was in the concession line when Vegas scored their only goal of the game, so I missed that. I think it was like Cody Eakin or something that scored, and yeah, like I was in concession. I was like watching on the TV, and I was like, "Hooray!"
You're like, do you watch NHL Network?
No, not really.
So they have these new commercials, though, that they're talking about the greatest moments in hockey are sometimes the ones that you miss.
Oh my god!
And there's this old guy sitting on the couch.
I would have been the poster boy for that.
Well, he's taking a picture. Oh, he holds up a picture, and it's of Bobby Orr with the dive, after the goal. He says, "Yeah, I was at that game. That seat right there, it's an empty seat." He's like, "I was in the bathroom when Bobby Orr scored that goal." And it was ice level right behind the net, and the seat was empty.
So, like, there was a thing, too, when I was doing Ice Crew with the Americans, I guess more so for the Toyota Center. We had a thing where if I, like, left to do something, like if I went to the bathroom or something, the Ams would score.
Oh, yeah.
So if we were ever in, like, a tense game and we needed a goal, they were like, "Kyle, go away."
Go piss, dude. Just go.
Go get something out of your car, or I don't know, something.
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. So
there's a lot
there
of
were times
in that building.
There were times I would actually just, like, leave and just hoping that maybe we'd get a goal. And it didn't work all the time, but sometimes it did. So
yeah.
It was kind of funny.
Yeah. It's fun. Dude, I'm so excited. Hockey season's almost here. And
Yeah.
I'm honestly, man, I'm super stoked for you. I know that process went on for a while.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it came to an end.
Yeah.
Right after, I think the last time we recorded was like July 3rd.
And it wasn't even final then.
Right. And I think like the next day or two you heard like final word or something like that. Or like I saw you that morning and then like that afternoon you posted, "Oh, by the way," because you had your you had your little Vegas Zamboni on there.
Dude, I took that picture and I took that before I even got like the full like 100%. Yeah, you're good to go.
Yeah.
You're coming here. Like,
oh no, you had texted me. You texted me before because you said, "So apparently I'm supposed to be in Vegas on September 1st or something like that."
Yeah, I think that's kind of how it went. And then no, so another story about that and all the bad luck roadblocks that came my way. I'd gotten the go ahead, and I made that post and whatnot, saying, "Yep, I'm going to Vegas" and whatnot. And and then I get this email. It was like 1:00 in the morning, and my sister was staying with me, and she was already asleep. I get this email from MGM Resorts, which is the company that's hiring me, and it's like, "Hey, after further review, we've determined that you are not qualified for the job. Thanks for your interest in applying, and good luck on your job hunt." Da, da, da. It was completely a 100% automated email that went out at exactly 1 a.m.
Yeah,
but I still freaked the fuck out at 1 a.m, and I couldn't talk to anybody. Like, I couldn't fucking talk to anyone about it. And I was like, I was freaked out. I was like, what the fuck happened? Like, there's got to be some explanation. Like, what the hell? Why am I getting this email? And I couldn't do anything about it. So, like, at 1 a.m, I went down. I live in a studio apartment. And my sister was just on the hide-a-bed that was on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
And so I went downstairs outside, and I I called the guy and I was like, "Hey, I got this email. It's kind of concerning. What's going on?" Like I left a message, because obviously he's not there at 1 a.m. But I mean, he could have been. But
you left a message at 1:03 a.m.
Yeah, if that even. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to like talk myself down so I can finally get some sleep.
It was a glitch. We'll be all right.
Yeah, that's exactly like I was like, I know they said I was good. I'm sure something got messed up or something. Like I'm not gonna, the logical thoughts started rolling in a bit, and I was kind of like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah,
but I still wanted to call them first thing in the morning. Morning rolls around. I finally got sleep, and morning rolls around, and I go to get on my phone to call these guys, and it kind of like locked up and then shut down, and it never turned back on again.
Oh God. That's right.
It never turned back on. And I'm like, why can't my phone turn on? Like, what the hell? I tried charging it and everything, and I'm just like frantically losing my shit. And I was like, fuck, I got to call these guys or else I'm going to lose my mind even further.
Yeah.
And then I realized that, like, I never saved his number.
Oh God.
It was just a 702 number. I kept going back to and using that, because I didn't know what to call it, because I knew his first name, but I didn't know his last name. And I'm weird about that. Where like,
let's call it Mr. Possibility.
Yeah. I'm weird about that though. I don't like putting just the first name in there. Like,
I'm with you.
That's how I am. Anyway, so I was freaking out trying to figure out how I'm going to find this number, and I looked across like my Google backup folder and then Verizon. Finally found it. Like I had to like actually talk to someone at Verizon.
Oh wow!
I finally found it, and I used my sister's phone to call, and I talked to him for a bit. He's like, "Oh yeah, no, you're fine. You are 100% hired." And then one of the HR guys over at MGM Resorts called me, and he was like, "I am incredibly sorry about that email." They were like, it was a glitch that happened. We were moving the system over to a new one, and a bunch of weird emails went out.
Yeah.
He was like, you're not the only one that got that. People who are already hired and still here got that.
People that have been here for the last 2 years got that.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah. Am I fired? So, yeah. I was
a
like.
lot of people up at 1 a.m. Pacific.
But I mean, and exactly what I thought when I was kind of like trying to like work myself down and kind of like try to get to sleep. It's exactly what I thought it was. So it was but no, everything's going well right now. I just went through like all the paperwork and everything. I have like an orientation the week I get there, and so everything's moving along, and it's pretty intense. And like I mentioned before the podcast, it hasn't quite hit me yet.
Yeah.
It's still like talking about it. It's still just kind of like, I'm going to Vegas. It's kind of how I am now.
Sure.
But I know the closer I get down there, like I know I'm going to feel anxious on the drive.
You're leaving in 12 days, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you're under 2 weeks now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's getting there. And, I know that like that drive between Elko and Vegas is going to be like, it's going to feel like it's like 10 days.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm just going to
how long is that drive?
From here to Elko, it's about 8 hours. And then we're going to stay the night in Elko, and then we're going to head down to Vegas the next morning. I think it's like 5.5 or 6 hours or so. So it's not too bad. I think all in all, it's around a 14-hour trip. 12, 14 hours. I can't remember. But
nice.
But anyway.
Bottom line, dude, you're ice crew for the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah. Yeah. This is...
That's pretty fucking rad.
Yeah. It is.
You're going to be rubbing elbows. You're going to be making friends, dude. I mean, I know your personality. I've seen what you've done here with the Americans. Mm-hmm. It'll transfer over. You might be a little starstruck in the beginning, but
I definitely will be. But I'm used to that kind of stuff. I've been around a lot of people, and I've met guys through here. Like I've met like Chris Draper, and I've met Jeff Blashill. Yeah, just through here, and we're around Ole all the time, and Carrie's here every summer. So I'm mostly, used to that aspect of it, like seeing these guys walking around and just saying hi and, how you doing, like just exchanging greetings and whatnot.
But I've seen a lot of behind the scenes stuff from, NHL teams and stuff about how these relationships are formed with these players and ice crew and support staff and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. It becomes that family behind the scenes. And I think that's cool,
and I'm really excited to see how it is. The guys that are hiring me, the Zamboni guys, They sound like they're really fun. One of the guys, he did ice for the New York Islanders for about 13 years at Nassau. So he knows his stuff, and I feel really good about where I'm going and who I'm working with. So
it's really cool.
I'm definitely excited about that. Like I thought I'd be nervous. Like, am I going to be? It's funny even saying it. Like I very, very briefly thought, am I going to be good enough for this?
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, of course.
That's a natural reaction.
I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Good.
So
good.
I think one of the things I'm most excited about is like the idea of doing like morning skates.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing teams like the Penguins come through.
Yeah.
That's like Crosby and Malkin.
That's so
like,
true, man. That's the other aspect of
McDavid and stuff. Like seeing these guys like up close and personal, it's going to be pretty intense.
You will see probably, for the most part, see all 30 of the teams at some point.
Yeah.
If not see, like if you're not on that day or something the next season, I mean, and then in a couple of years we'll add team number 32 to the mix.
Yep.
I mean, dude, it's exciting. It's really exciting for you, man. And it's been a mixture of emotions for me, but it's like, dude, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah. So like it's definitely big. It's definitely a big change
for sure.
And it's like, even though I've said it several times, just on this recording, and it's like I'm still just still hasn't quite sunk.
It will.
It'll hit me like a fucking ton of bricks.
Then you'll be on cloud 9 at that point, bro.
Yeah.
With that, I mean, obviously, dude, we're going to miss you on here. We are going to try to get you to call in and stuff from time to time. We're hoping. We'll see once your schedule kind of pans out to see where things are at.
It's honestly like one of the coolest parts about it right now is I'm talking about things, in the next few months, and I have no idea what my schedule is going to look like exactly.
Right.
Although it's kind of fun looking at it and be like, what am I doing that night? Vegas has the Avalanche in town. The Kings are in town.
Mister, I don't have to pay $200 for a ticket anymore.
Yeah. So like it was funny because some bands that I like are coming through Vegas or LA or something, and I'm like, where are the nights that night? And hoping to see. I have like tentative plans in place where the nights are out of town, and I'm hoping I could. We got Fit for an Autopsy coming through. My buddy Tim. We still got to get him on here.
We'll make it work.
Yeah,
we will.
Yeah, they're coming through Sacramento, so I was going to go up with the Bents and go see them, and then Slayer's going to be in Vegas in November.
Their last tour.
last, like hoorah, So it's I think the Bents might come down and we'll go see them.
Nice,
because Alex and I really want to see Primus.
Oh yeah,
like
have you not
seen Primus?
Man, that's 20 years since I saw them. Something like that.
I would love to see Primus.
I've
seen Slayer like 3 times.
2000.
I've seen Slayer like 3 or 4 times now, but I'd still like to see them again.
Primus is fun,
insane. And then what else was it? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's so much. Like it's there's a lot to take in already.
Yeah, for sure.
Is.
There's a lot more opportunity. With Kyle stepping back, obviously, like we still are going to have him on and everything like that from time to time, but we are going to make a switch. If you guys have listened at all, we have another podcast that Corey and I work with called Garagerama, punk rock, hardcore, horror stuff that we talk about. If you haven't checked that out, go look it up. But there's a friend of ours on there. His name's Deffrey. Good Lord. Where did that even come from? Because I think his Facebook is Derek Jeffrey Schoenrock, if I remember right. So Deffrey, hey, welcome, Deffrey. Derek is going to be joining us as kind of the third person because we've realized we can do these little 2-person things a lot, but it's really hard. And Corey and I just kind of stare into each other's eyes when it's just him and I around. So Derek will be joining us, I think, in 2 weeks. Next week, excuse me, will be Kyle's last live in the studio for at least some time. So you're definitely going to want to check that out. We're hoping, fingers crossed, we're going to have a special guest next week with us who will also hopefully have a pretty cool announcement to bring on. I'm trying to think what else. We're going to stay weekly. Our summer break is over, so next week we'll officially start season 2 of Cascadia Hockey Podcast. If you guys haven't already, this one here was just kind of a little fun one. Wanted to let everybody know what's going on, the changes that are coming and everything. We've had a lot of really cool feedback in person with a lot of people. A lot of people have said, love it. I talked to a lady last night at the gym. She's like, you know what? She's like, I've listened to a couple. I really enjoy them. She's like, starting in like 3 weeks, I'm going to Tacoma every week. Whatever. Yeah. I'm going to Tacoma every week for this class, and I can't wait to just throw Cascadia on and listen to it. That's awesome. Please keep sharing, talking.
Yes.
Let your friends know. I mean, if you think we suck, that's fine. I mean, but share it anyway. Be like, check these fuckers out. They're terrible.
Look at these fucking clowns.
Be a good laugh for somebody.
Benders.
But it is, and I know we talked a lot before. I keep saying it. There's things coming. I promise. It's just been craziness. If you could see my life away from this Cascadia thing, you would be like, okay, I understand. But Buried Puck Threads is still around, still alive, and things are coming up with that we're excited about. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, one of the things we're going to do today is after Kyle and I are done recording, I'm going to transfer over to an interview that I did several weeks ago, but it was with a buddy of ours named Dan Brown, and I've talked about it before, but Dan is on the west side. He is involved with the Washington Wild, which is a all-female hockey organization that helps especially like young girls get into the game and all that stuff. He's plugged in with Everett and Seattle and all those teams. So I'm going to, at the end of this, stick around. You'll hear the interview that I did with him, kind of introducing him. We're hoping to get him on more often next year because, once again, women's hockey is huge. It's going to be a huge part of where the game goes. With Seattle getting a new team, there's a big push for professional women's hockey to be in Seattle. And I guess
I think it will be.
I think it will be too. I mean, it's already there, like at the grassroots level.
Yeah.
I think it can just grow from that. And of course, everything, as far as I know, I haven't heard a lot of news lately, but everything's still kind of up in the air with the NWHL and the CWHL, what happened there. I think the players are still kind of on strike right now. Some of them are saying we're not going to play until we get a new deal. More power to you, ladies. Seriously. I think that's a great thing. So we want to diversify a little bit. Want to have some more guests on this upcoming season. We did want to say real quick before we go, former person we used to rub elbows with around here, we just learned yesterday, tore their ACL.
Yeah.
Yusa Valimaki, defenseman for the Calgary Flames, who played here for a couple seasons. Great kid. Tore his ACL in a training event a couple days ago, I guess. But he's out indefinitely. That would be at least a 6-month, probably more like a 9-month recovery. So Yusa, we wish you the best. And I'm chuckling just because it sucks. I mean, what else can you say about it? Not a whole lot of news recently out of the hockey world. The next 2-3 weeks are really going to start to pick up, though, especially from our perspective. With the dub, like you said, we get the dub a little bit earlier, you know, middle.
Kinda?
Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, training camp. I mean, training camp starts August 22nd. You're still
and I want to
3 or 4 weeks away from NHL training camps.
I want to take the time to encourage the fans of the Americans to attend these training camps and practices that are open to the public.
Yes.
Like, go to the Red Lion tournament. Like it's most. I think it's just U.S. division teams, which should show up.
Yes.
Some. It should bring some fun rivalries along.
Vancouver might be at that one this year.
I can't.
But I know for sure
I need to
Portland,
double check. I know Portland,
Seattle, and Spokane. I know for sure we'll be there.
So you won't get AM's home opener until like October 5th.
Yeah.
So show up to these preseason games. Show up to these practices. The Navy versus White game is always fun. It's always a fun time
and always free.
Always free. So definitely come down and check it out. Get your dose of hockey in because we got kind of like a late home start because they're on the road for the first few games. So,
and I believe if it hasn't been already, that the schedule of training camp will be up on amshockey.com. If you go on there, it'll let you know all the practice sessions that are going on every day. I believe training camp starts like the 22nd and it runs through like the end of that following week because then they go to Everett for that tournament, which is
Labor Day weekend.
And then they're back for Red Lion the following weekend. And then September 14th, there is a exhibition game against Spokane. They do that pretty much every year, and then they're gone. The first 2 weeks, I think the first 5 games are on the road.
Yep. It's a pretty
2 weekends in a row.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one.
Yep. And if you're not AMs, I mean, if you're listening somewhere else, check out your local team and see when their training camps are going.
It's always really cool to see people show up for training camp and stuff. Like it's always cool to see a lot of the fans. I know it's not like the high level action pack experience you normally get, but like come check it out. See what kind of goes on and see the preparation. See the kids that are coming up. See the hopefuls and whatnot, the prospects and. It's always fun to watch, like because sometimes you see some pretty talented kids there who aren't quite there yet, but
right,
you can tell.
2 years ago, I went and watched the Navy White game, and Sasha was who I was keeping an eye on at that point.
Yeah.
And I remember watching him and thinking the only knock I have on his game at that point was he didn't back check real well.
Yeah,
and come to find out, back checking is actually something they're not teaching a whole lot anymore in bantam.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was well-rounded, and now we see Sasha. Well, that's another thing. Did we say congrats to Sasha because 5th-round pick by Colorado? I don't remember if we did or not.
I don't know if we did. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations, Sasha. So he's in the Colorado organization now. And once again, share, buriedpuck.com, buriedpuckthreads.com. Either one of those will take you to the same place, but check us out on social media. Drop us a line. Tell us how we're doing in your opinion. Because honestly, if we love doing this, but if nobody's listening, I'm not going to waste my fucking time doing it anymore.
Yeah.
So drop us a line, hello@buriedpuckthreads.com. Let us know what you like. Let your friends know. As we wrap up this prologue to season 2 or epilogue to season 1, however you want to talk about it.
The warm-up.
The warm-up, the preseason. We only get one exhibition game around here. Stick on for about the next 20-25 minutes if you got time. We're going to put the interview with Dan Brown up so you can hear who he is and what he'll bring to the podcast. And we'll see you guys next week for the official kickoff of season 2.
Give your balls a tug, you tit fucker.
Fuck. All right, everybody. We have been talking for seems like months now about getting our next guest on the show, and so many things happened. I almost died, and different things like that came about. But I am really excited. This guy has been a supporter of Buried Puck and the podcast, and just hockey in the Northwest in general for a long time. So I would like to proudly introduce Mr. Dan Brown. Is Dan good, or do you want Daniel?
Either way, I'll answer to anything.
Perfect. Well, we're glad to have you on, man. I'm glad this finally worked out for us.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad you're not dead. It was a little concerning over the Thanksgiving holiday to get a message that, hey, I'm in a harbor view.
Yeah, for real.
So hockey, a little less important than life. So although some would argue that.
True.
It's a good thing to have you here and to be able to finally get this done.
Well, thanks, man. And I hope to make it a regular thing because as we were just discussing, and we've said it on the podcast a few times, hockey, especially in the Northwest, is going to grow at an amazing rate here soon. Women's hockey is a lot going on with that, but I think what I want to do first is just give you a couple minutes, take the floor, and just let the listeners know what you do, because I feel like you're involved with quite a bit, and you really want to see the sport grow at all different levels. So just tell the people what you're into. Yeah.
Thanks for the floor. Well, my name's, as you said, Daniel Brown. I work a lot in women's youth hockey specifically, have about a 20-year background in youth sports, mostly soccer and now hockey. Really excited about growing the sport, giving the women that are part of our organization, and quite frankly, those that aren't part of our organization, the ability to be empowered and to find value in the teamwork and the camaraderie in the game. And so much of the female persona societally is based around their beauty, and this gives them another way to be strong. I have a 10-year-old daughter who plays with the Washington Wild, which is the organization I'm a part of. I've served on their board. I serve as their mascot. Shh, don't tell anybody. I also spend a lot of time writing for several different sites, All Beard and No Teeth with Griffin in Ireland. I write for Last Word on Hockey and edit for them as well, or both of them as well. and occasionally I've done things for Morning Skate and Beer League Talk. A lot of it has been about getting the word out for not only women's hockey. Featured one of your friends and several others for a segment called Geezers and Breezers about adult hockey players, because those are stories that need to be told. And we're going to probably retool that and put it up in a different format at some point. And then also review hockey books for All Beard and No Teeth, which I need to get some more content up there.
That's right. I forgot I had talked to you about that with the books and stuff. I've been going through a few. I'm still trying to finish off a book called The Rebel League about the old WHA.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the WHA, that's a hell of a book.
It is. There's some crazy stories in there.
Super crazy stories. I mean, even the opener story is enough. You know, the brawl.
Yeah.
With the whole team naked in the hallway brawling with the fans. I mean, that's the hockey, the slapshot world of hockey that I came into in the late 70s. And, you know, those stories don't happen, or at least we don't hear about them anymore. But it's definitely fun to read. For
real. Yeah. Between that and Terry Ryan's book, there was a lot of entertaining moments and stories in there. So, So, man, I forget what I was going to say there. I wanted to ask you, this is just a fun thing real quick before we dive in too deep. I don't know if you listened a few weeks ago, we played Sean Avery's rant about the New York Islanders fans, and I'm going to throw you under the bus because I know you're an Islanders fan. What?
So, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, what was your take on that whole Tavares thing, man?
Well, first off, let me speak to the Sean Avery thing. Is you can on the morning skate, I put up a quick comment and I got a lot of traffic, more traffic than any of my other articles because of his attempt at trying to achieve semi-relevance again.
Right.
He's got his opinion. He always has his opinion, and he tries to stay in front of the camera, and that's fine. The Tavares thing, though, my take on it is this. I don't blame a guy who soldiered on for 9 years on a team that went nowhere. And I've been a fan of the Islanders since before they had the dynasty. I've stayed with them the whole time. And unless they're playing the team that comes to Seattle here in a short while, I'll be rooting for them just like I was this year. And who'd have thunk they'd go as far as they did this year.
Yeah, it was a great season for them.
Yeah, especially in light of the Tavares thing. But he soldiered on for 9 years. He did his job. He's going to make a business decision and go home. And, ultimately I don't fault him for any of that. But what I feel like he kind of did, and again, I can't fault him for this really, is he pulled an A-Rod. And for those old enough to remember, A-Rod not only chased the buck, but he kept telling people the right thing, the thing that we all wanted to hear, and then seemed to pull the rug out from under us. And that's going to happen sometimes. You got to say what you got to say, especially in a sport as conformist as hockey, where you just have to say, I just want to stay with the Islanders, or want to do my job, all that stuff, robot Tavares.
Yeah.
But what I think really sealed the deal and pissed off a lot of Islanders fans, and trust me, Islanders fans can be assholes. We all know that. More than anybody. But I think what really pissed everybody off was that letter. The letter it smacked of a guy who was trying to appeal to a fan base in the same manner a CEO who's laying off a bunch of people says, I understand how you feel.
Yeah.
When you're getting a pink slip, like the hell, how I feel.
Right.
So that's kind of my take on the Tavares thing. Don't blame him for his business decisions. But I did really like it when they got back to the Coliseum and everybody gave him the boo. Some people went overboard. Some people cheered him on, but you got to expect that from the island.
Yeah, as a 20+ year Philadelphia Flyers fan, I can attest to being a part of a passionate fan base, but also a bunch of, well, not a bunch, but very several asshole fans that are a part of it as well. So
yeah.
I'm reminded of I think it was 3 days after Ed Snyder died, they were throwing things on the ice that were supposed to be in his honor or whatever, and it was just
yeah,
that was so stupid. I was not happy to be a Flyers fan at that moment. But
yeah, throwing stuff on the ice is a whole different thing giving people the Long Island cheer,
Sure. Yeah. Well, no, I thought that would be a little fun one to get out of the way up front there. Once again, it's cool. It's a cool storyline for the game, man, and it's so exciting and fun to see that. I love the passion of the fans on the island, man. I'm so glad they're getting a new arena. I'm so glad. I was really happy for him this year, man. I always keep an eye on Matt Barzal. So
yeah, he's kind of got some any of us WHL folks.
Yeah,
watching Barzal go up, make a couple of mistakes, come back down, and then go back up and kind of tear up the league. Kind of had this little sophomore year this year where he wasn't quite as effective in some manners, but people picked out his tricks.
Sure. Yeah,
a little bit.
That was probably more of because he was kind of thrust into the spotlight this year a little bit quicker than was probably planned. So, as far as kind of being I don't know if you'd call him the leader of the team, but definitely moving into that role.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was always fun, man. He would, as a Tri-City fan, he would always piss us off because that guy, he just looked angry every time he was on the ice, and he was just so smooth out there. So, I love seeing his success in the league. Really fun. So I'm looking. I follow the Washington Wild, the organization and everything a lot, and that was a lot because of you and I started chatting online and stuff like that. So I followed it for a while, but I was looking back at the history of the Wild today on their website, and this program has grown immensely over the last 17 years or 18 years since they got started. Going from, it looks like 3 teams up to countless teams right now. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So, it's a great organization. Just as a little personal background, my daughter and I used to go ice skating together. And one day she said, hey, we were at the home rink, which is Highland, old barn.
Mm-hmm.
Just terrible rink, but it's our home rink. So there you go. It's ice.
Sure.
But she had said, hey, I think I can play hockey. So we did a try hockey for free event for the Wild. She started up and I got involved with the organization. Well, they needed board members. I jumped on the board. I took over their beginners program, their learn to play program from the off ice perspective. And it really opened my eyes up to this organization and who founded it.
Mm-hmm.
There's Zoe Harris and Cindy Daly, who began it way back when because they saw the need for female hockey. They both, Cindy grew up playing here. Zoe's from the East Coast. And she basically created the Frozen Four and has a MVP for the ACHA named after her trophy or award every year.
Nice.
And so it's kind of like, wow, I am not just volunteering for some youth hockey organization. This has got some more heft to it than I was imagining. But at any rate, started out with a few teams. They grew gradually over the years. They've had some real big successes with girls going off to Division 2 and 3 programs. Some girls that had to move away to go play at a higher level for organizations like the Lady Sharks, Lady Ducks, and LA Lions.
Mm-hmm.
But continues to grow. Right now, we're in a huge growth spurt over the course of the last few years. We've been able to not only field travel teams that play in the U.S. and Canada, but also to be able to start leagues for girls 6U, 10U, 12U. So, if you're talking Canadian Pee Wee Mite, et cetera. So we now have leagues where we have enough girls, 30 plus, in each one of those spaces where we're able to just have them play against each other. And those same girls also staff the rep teams and the AA and AAA teams that that travel around, or they play between the U.S. and Canada. And I'm constantly getting emails from folks saying, hey, I want my daughter to play hockey all the time. So we're definitely involved in getting the girls here and getting them involved in this great sport. And kind of the mission is to empower them through the sport of hockey. So it's really exciting work to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a rad mission statement to have across the board. I noticed too that when they made the announcement about Seattle officially getting the team, there was a member of the Wild up on stage for that, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Our president's daughter. And this is unbeknownst to me. I was standing down at Henry's Tavern waiting for the announcement, and they panned by the front row of the folks there in Georgia, and I saw our president. I was like, "Oh, look, Kelly and Jason are there." Her husband is also one of our coaches. She's one of our coaches, and then they pulled Jaina out, their daughter. She had made the announcement for the practice facility going in at Northgate, and then she also got pulled on to the stage for the actual announcement. So it was pretty exciting. I was standing there with her coach, who's an amazing coach and has had a tremendously successful season. She was in on it. I wasn't. So that's what you get when you step away from the board. You lose that visibility. But yeah, it was really exciting. We did a ton of work as an organization getting down to city council to really sell youth hockey as an angle and that was really driven a lot by Zoe and by Kelly Kaczynski and others to try to sell the city council of Seattle on it being more than just an NHL team, that it was about youth hockey, that it was about our girls, it was about the boys that wanted to play, and about the fact that ice isn't as available as soccer fields or basketball courts.
Right.
And so it was amazing to see one of our jerseys on stage as that was announced. And again, it was unbeknownst to me. It was just like, what? So
speaking of go ahead.
I was going to say, it was exciting stuff.
That was a great time, man. I know I was back home finally. I missed, I guess this is kind of could have been the silver lining. I was in the hospital, and when I flew home, I think I missed the announcement in Seattle by about 3 days, because I came home on the 1st, and I think that happened, on like the 3rd or the 4th of December. So
yeah,
it was one of those, oh, damn it, I wish I was still in Seattle. Wait, no, I don't wish I was still in Seattle. So
not for that reason.
No, we'll pass on that. So you were talking about the jersey. I just have to say, this is just a side note, I really, really like the Wild's logo in their jerseys. Those are slick, man. So I'm one of those nerds that's always looking at hockey logos and everything, and waiting patiently for the new name of the new team, which I think I heard they pushed back. They're going to announce it like in the fall or something like that. Is that what you've been hearing?
That's the word I've been hearing.
Yeah.
That jersey, definitely, our jersey on stage caused a lot of hubbub. Sports writers whose names I shan't mention, but who write for big publications were like, does this mean they're going red and black? Are they going with a Native American motif? All this stuff. And it's like, that's our jersey, but who knows? Their colors that they've been running with throughout this whole thing have been red and black, though. So who knows?
We'll true. See. That's very true. That's exciting. We don't have a whole lot of time left, but I want to touch on real quick, and I think this all kind of circles back around to the NHL, to Seattle, because there's some talk, that some people are trying to get some things together to possibly one day bring a professional women's team to Seattle as well, which I think would be great. But it feels like recently professional women's hockey is kind of at a crossroads right now. And I want to get your take on it. We talked a little bit off air. You said it was a very bold move, and I definitely agree with you on that. And I'm rooting them on personally as much as we can do for them to root on that cause. I think it's great. But what's your take on where the NWHL is at right now, and with the folding of the CWHL and all that? Where's everything headed right now? So
I couldn't really speculate on where I think it's headed. There's just a lot of variables and moving parts. One of the other things I forgot to mention is that I also work as a Women's Hockey Life ambassador for the Women's Hockey Life. So I get different takes, both the Canadian take and the U.S. take. NWHL to Seattle, which is kind of modeled after NHL to Seattle that John Barr ran, is run by Zoe Harris. So
okay.
she's she's really working on the dream of getting an NWHL team here and getting professional women's hockey here. But through kind of sidebar conversations with a lot of people involved in it, in women's hockey at every level that I have access to, from players to Zoe and to the folks up at Women's Hockey Life. Everybody's got a little bit of a different take on it, but everybody seems unified in the sense that they're excited that the players are standing up, looking for a livable wage, that they feel that it's time to do it, that it's similar in stance to what the U.S. women's national team did, both soccer and hockey, in saying, hey, we're having to work second jobs, third jobs, go play overseas, etc., in a way to keep ourselves going. CWHL for years didn't pay people. NWHL pays a paltry amount unless you're, a Hillary Knight or somebody like that who's got endorsement deals. And I can't speak to what Hillary Knight makes, but I would imagine it's considerably better than, a Shannon Zabados or somebody who's of equal stature on the ice, but maybe doesn't have the ability to have Nike put them out there as a voice for that. It's that stance. Again, I think it's bold. I think it's the right time. I think you've got to stand up. And these women have got to stand up and say, hey, we just need a livable wage. We need spaces to play. We don't need to have second, third jobs trying to play a sport that we love. And the argument that comes back on that all the time that doesn't sit well with me for a number of reasons is, yeah, but it's not men's hockey. It's not, or it's not, put butts in seats and then that way you can play people. But that's grossly oversimplifying it. When you get down to it, and look at the actual data that comes in on the amount of money that's put out there for marketing, the amount of money that's put out there for facilities, the amount of money that's paid the players, the exposure that they get on any media, name a media outlet, and these women aren't getting. They're getting short shrift in just coverage and things like that. All of those allow that game to grow, and they aren't getting that. And I think it's about a livable wage, but there's a lot of puzzle pieces to that these women that are taking a stand see that and are willing to put their livelihood, their love, and their love of the sport on the line to take a stand on that. So I think you get more of those puzzle pieces in place, and it makes it much, much easier to attract more people to the sport, both male and female. I have plenty of friends of both sexes that follow women's hockey. The sauce tossing guys from Oklahoma freaking love women's hockey, and we've chatted about that a few times, because they're like, that's the purest form of the game. And, everybody's got their opinion on it, but it's the sport. They deserve better than they're getting. And I think it's the right stance to take. My hope is that it wakes people up to the fact that all of those inconsistencies between the men's game and the women's game are out there. You always have your detractors, but what it comes down to is more people need to get behind them to give them the exposure and things like that they need.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. There was I think somebody put a meme up several weeks ago that I saw that said, if you say that you're a fan of hockey, but you're not a fan of women's hockey, then you're a fan of men's hockey, not hockey in general. You know what I'm saying? And that hit me hard, because it's like, hockey's hockey, man. It doesn't matter what the gender is of the person playing it. And I guess my question to you would be, do you think at the end of the day, no matter how long it takes, do you think we're headed towards a positive outcome with all of this? Or is it something that it's kind of like, I don't know at this point?
I would think that we're headed toward a positive outcome. There's a lot of stuff out there. Is the NHL going to step in? Is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? But there's Graham Rouston, who owns the Hockey News, stepped away from the CWHL board before everything, before this past season began.
Mm-hmm.
And Cassie Campbell and several others have stepped away, but feel strongly like he's willing to put his money behind it. We'll see how that happens, or see what happens there. People have speculated that the NWHL expands and that the NHL puts more money into it. And at the very start of it, there was a piece about the who was it? Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought.
You're fine.
There was a thought about the money coming from the NWHL doubling, when in effect the NHL was just going to take the money that was allocated to the CWHL and apply that toward the NWHL. So there really wasn't any more money coming in. But whether the NHL steps in, whether a new league is formed, whether the NWHL absorbs things, whether Rouston puts money into it, I think the outcome will ultimately be positive. Don't know if it's going to happen in a year. Don't know if it's going to take a while longer. But I think that there's enough of a groundswell of support for women's hockey that over whatever course of time needs to pass, that ultimately we'll have a positive outcome and put more women's teams out there. Because it's exciting games. And ultimately, like you said, if you're not a fan of women's hockey or a fan of men's hockey, it's just you're not a fan of hockey, period.
Right. That's a good point. And yeah, it's a culture thing, and there's a lot that will have to be changed with that in the minds of the individuals, obviously. But I think it's exciting. I'm having a fun time watching it. Hoping for the best for sure. It's funny you brought up the NHL thing, because I thought it was stupid, because the NHL was only giving each league $50,000 a year, which is
just
nothing.
a paltry sum.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, oh well, we'll just go ahead and give that other 50 over to the NWHL. So now they're getting $100,000 from us, and it's like, really, that's the silver lining you're finding in all of this. I don't know.
Absolutely, and it's not just hockey. I don't know if you've seen. There's a documentary called Underexposed about female skateboarders.
I haven't seen it. I'll have to check it out.
It's a fantastic movie, but it goes through exactly the same set of circumstances. You have women who are doing amazing things, beating guys in competitions, etc., and they're not getting the exposure. They're not getting the signature boards. They're not getting taken on the tours. Their events are being shut down. All those types of things. So it's being fought on so many different fronts. It's kind of amazing that it's been so societally inept at getting this going.
Yeah. I know you chuckle about it, but I mean, that's about all you can do at this point. It's like, what the hell? I mean, where I don't get it. I don't understand. As a father of two daughters myself, that's just like, I don't understand what they have to fight for, and everything.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, I do understand like what they're up against, and it's sad, but like I said, I'm hoping for the best, man. I really am.
Oh yeah. The chuckle's more of incredulousness than anything else.
Yeah.
Just like, come on, people, get it together.
For real, it's really not that hard. You guys are making this more complicated than it needs to be. So, well, I'll tell you what, man. I know you gotta wrap it up here, and we're gonna do this again. So there's gonna be a lot more to talk about. But I just wanted to say real quick, if anybody wants to check it out, wwfha.com. Is that correct for the Washington Wild site?
Yep, that's it.
Perfect. And if anybody wants to follow you on Twitter, I believe you changed it to Waiting for October 2021. If anybody catches what the significance of that date is.
Yeah, it's at Sounder2, the number 2, the core on Twitter, and at DA Brown on Instagram if you're looking for me. Hit me up with questions, concerns, comments. Always happy to interact with people, fans or not fans, to chat about hockey.
Perfect. All right, man. Well, I appreciate your time. And like I said, for everybody listening, we're going to try to do this more of a regular basis. Hopefully it won't be another year before we make this happen again. But yeah, Dan, I appreciate it, man. And you have a good rest of your evening.
I certainly will, and I appreciate the time to come on. And yeah, I'll pester you so this doesn't take another year to get out.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right. Take care, Aaron.
You too.